Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second regular meeting. And Happy New Year, first of all. It's 4 days into January, so Happy New Year, first of all. We're having a special session today. Thank you, Elizabeth, for suggesting it and getting in touch with Julie. And afterwards, I got in touch with Julie, and we had a nice talk yesterday, and she showed me what she wanted to show you. And this is going to be great. Julie is, could you please mute your microphone? We hear some background noises. Thank you. Julie is, I actually got to know Julie in Budapest at a district conference. She's a trainer, and ever since every now and then I met her at conferences, and I got invited as chief ambassador to her club, the Witty Toastmasters. Witty Toastmasters or Witty Storytellers? I'm not sure.
Storytellers.
Witty Storytellers. And because Pat Johnson and Celeste Brown, the other chief ambassador at that time, chief ambassador for District 59, were being interviewed, and we were talking about pathways. But this is a year ago, and right now we're in the middle of rolling out or preparing the rollout. And Julie is a very curious person, so she actually is a member of a club which is already using pathways. She's in an online club, and she's going to show us a little bit how the learning paths are look like, and what we can expect, how to work with them, and some other things. So if you have questions, Julie, you tell us how you like it. If you would like to have the questions directly or later on, then we collect them. Julie also is Pathways Guide. How do you say it? Not a Pathways Guide, but a Pathways Guide.
Pathway up, right? Of the D91 now.
The Chief Pathways Guide.
I am ambassador, in fact.
So, I think I don't have to tell you very much about it. Julie is going to take over. We thought we give her an hour to show us learning paths and BaseCamp, and give us a look and feel of pathways. What members are going to expect.
What I would like to do is speak a little bit, show, and then I will stop. And then you can ask questions, and then I go and continue.
Okay.
It's okay like this?
I switched off my video. I don't know if the gallery view is for you as well. I'm going to change that for the yeah, this is what I wanted to have.
What you see?
Here
Let me tell when I can begin.
You can begin. I'm going to mute my microphone, and I suggest everybody else would please mute your microphone as well, so we don't have any disturbances.
Unless you want to ask something or interact.
Yes, of course. So, okay, go ahead.
I share my screen, and I show you first the login. Can you see it now? I hope.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Wonderful. So that is a general login to Toastmaster International, and everything passes by there. So you have to make sure that everyone can log in, and their primary, it's called primary email, that is how they log in to Pathway. Of course, you have to have a Pathway club already. I went in a Pathway club end of March last year when District 27 began and become member of a club. So it comes automatically, it comes here. Pathway learning experience, and you have, of course, choose your path, which I cannot show you now because I have enough paths for the moment. I finished 3 of them, and I am working now at number 4 and 5. And the navigator, I think every guide or probably also ambassador already have it. And then access my path through BaseCamp. If you have member of more clubs, and I am now member of 3, 2 from District 27 and 1 from District 7, Yakina Toastmaster, you can choose which one you want to be for the moment your club or your main club. When you are BaseCamp manager, you have here another entry and you can log in as BaseCamp manager. I have been BaseCamp manager for 2 months, so I experimented before the club was forbidden to take remote access members. So I can log in a DTM Masters Club as a member. And now you will be in my BaseCamp. Here is the way to log out, which I looked for a while until I found. And you have tutorials, probably most of you can have those. And the check compatibility, which is extremely important when you first come in. And most important is to let them pop up and don't forbid the pop-ups, because all BaseCamp projects are based on it. There are a few tiles. The navigating BaseCamp explains different ways to navigate. The speech evaluation contains all the forms for all the evaluations, but I never go there because I have them also in my own project. I never use my feedback because no one asks first. And I can look from time to time to badge, but I can look them also from other places. So what I use usually is my education transcript, or clicking on a tile here, or directly from here. As you see, I can launch the Distinguished Toastmaster program, which I got when I almost finished 2 paths. The Pathway Mentor program, which I could download when I reach level 3. And I have here 2 paths, which I can open. Or I can go to the tile and have the exactly same information. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. I can open. And those are my active paths. If I look at my completed paths, you can see which one I already completed. And of course, I can have them by title, by status, by date added. The first one, it was effective coaching, and the last one was the dynamic leadership, which I just bought not long time ago. So let's go to effective coaching and open curriculum. And you see here, effective coaching, the title, how far away I am. I have done level 1, level 2, and level 3. I did not do level 4. I completed the elective project, but not improving through positive coaching. I have to coach someone 3 times. But let's go from the level 1. Level 1 is the same for everyone, for every path. Exactly identical. And the first is icebreaker. Until you don't finish the icebreaker, you don't have access to the other evaluation, feedback, and research and present. And the same thing at level 5. The last one you finish, reflect on your path, becomes available only when you finish the other 2. So those 2 are always the first and the last. The icebreaker you could launch even now, even without being inside pathway, because everyone can have an icebreaker taster, which they call it break the ice. On the bottom of the page of pathways explaining. So I think I would better show you, if you would like, the evaluation and feedback, and then perhaps a little bit of level 3, which is one of my preferred also. And level 3, just to show you very fast, is one of my preferred because it has all these elective. Elective means you can choose. Minimum required 2, but you can open all of them, read all of them, save all of them, and they are one more interesting than the other. So let's go back to level 1. But before I go further, any question until now?
Yes, one question.
Yes.
When you were in the elective one at level 3, there were some projects which you could launch and some which you could only activate. So what's the difference between those? Or what does it mean?
Yeah. Launch are those who I have already looked at.
Oh, okay. So activate is just
And
not even looked at.
are those who I never looked.
Okay, thank you.
At this path at least. I did look at my paths at each of them. But effective body language I did, and vocal variety I did in my first path. So I did look at it again.
Okay, thank you.
And the one I completed, you see here. But I did open this time also the effective visual aids. That is why it is launched, and I never opened the deliver social speech here. That is why it is activated.
I have question also.
Yes.
How do you choose the path, and if you can change the path when you choose it once?
Yes.
I mean about this elective or elective ones.
So the elective, you just open and do it. It is not a big choice, but the difference between paths, in fact, are on level 3 here. The required for effective coaching, what is required is reaching consensus. And at level 4, what is required?
Excuse me. I think somebody has not muted their microphone, so it's kind of reflecting and echoing in the background. So my suggestion is please unmute your microphone only when you speak. Thank you.
And at level 5, the required in this effective coaching,
Hello?
high performance leadership.
Hello?
Yes. So those are the differences in the required. There is a list of all the required for all the 10 paths and explaining all the project. In 31 December, I published a blog post. I have a blog which is called Pathways Experience blogspot.co.uk. And I published last day of last year, a few days ago, a whole list how you can choose a path. So I cannot tell you now because that would take almost an hour. But you can read it. And another time, if you want, I can speak only about that. But the important thing is to choose after what you are required, and there are only 3 required tasks in every path. So you think, do you want to do that or not? For example, the leadership development, I didn't like the title. But when I looked inside, it goes from meeting, special meeting, organizing a special meeting, and then organizing a bigger special meeting and a bigger one. And that is what I wanted to do. So in June, I choose that path. And in December, we organized a huge meeting with storytellers from Virginia and storytellers online. The effective coaching, when I choose in April, I did not know all that. And I did not know it finished with high performance leadership. So I am still there. And it is not.
Question.
Yes?
I have a question. Can we look at a project which is not a speech project? I would like to see how that looks like.
So researching consensus or no? If improvement through positive coaching. You have to coach someone 3 times. And I coached 2 times, and I am still waiting for her to come back. But there are some who are longer. a lot longer. I can come and show you some I completed. Now, this one, everyone, any project, you can go from the beginning or to end or to your evaluations. So, introduction. So it explains what is coaching. And it explained that the purpose is to coaching a fellow member outside the Toastmaster meeting with your expertise. And after your coaching, you speak 5 or 7 minutes. But first, you have to coach. The speech itself is very short and can be humorous, informational, or any style. And you can tell anything you want about your coaching experience. But before you have to coach. There is also a page which is called your evaluation, where you can print your projects. And by printing your project, it means you can open it and the manual comes like any manual. You can save it, save or print or do whatever you want with it. Any project you work. Yes?
Thanks a lot.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, you said you finished 3 passes and you're working on 2 passes now.
Yes.
That means you finished 5 icebreakers in your club?
I have 7 clubs.
Yeah, okay.
But I finished 5 icebreakers, yes.
For a moment, think you are only in 1 club. So you have to finish 5 icebreakers
Yes,
in your club?
You don't have to. I can tell. Now, let's go back. To explain you a little bit.
Yeah.
I find that the second project, which is called Evaluation and Feedback.
Excuse me, your screen has gone. I see Frank's video right now.
Because I wanted to speak first.
Okay, okay.
I closed my screen.
Okay, thank you.
In order to be able to speak. I don't see myself on it, but doesn't matter. I see all of you. I can show my screen again if you want.
No, it's okay. I simply was confused because I thought you were referring to something on your screen and I didn't see it.
No.
Please go ahead as you like.
To see where I am. Okay, so that is my blog. Can you see my blog?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Thursday we met and I put your picture. And before that, I spoke exactly the same thing. I spoke here that the project may be the same, but we change. So whether you give icebreaker or whether you go to speak about a research, each time you can speak about something completely different. And I put here that in my first pass, I did research transition linked to pathway. second pass moderating panels, and the third time Zoom green screen. And the fourth pass, I researched emotion in storytelling, and the number 5, training top tips. And before that, I spoke about the 3 project, Mastering Fundamentals, but that is not what I want to show you. Just before it here. Here, how to choose a path. Sunday, 31 November. And I explain how you can change and buy BaseCamp or have one, and then go and explain what you think you want. And I speak about a brochure which Toastmaster International published, where you have, for example, for leadership development, the 2 who are the same, the specifics, 3, and then all the elective which are more or less exactly the same for any path. And you can study those and compare each with other and see what is different from one, the level 3, 4, 5, for every path you want to choose. There is another it is called Pathway and Projects, which was created by George Marshall, the first pilot, and it is also available in files in Pathway Discussion Forum, or here, which not only tells you each, whatever elective you have, what are the one you have to do. Here, for example, you have to plan and implement a meeting. Leading your team, it seems you don't know what is inside, but you can click, and when you click, you have a project description.
Yeah. Sorry, as a level 1 and 2 are always the same in every pass, no difference.
Exactly the same title.
And it depends on you what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on what you do with it. And you, as I tell, you can tell members that the river water is not the same, and you are not the same when you enter the water reserve. So you can.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
I also use the argument, the thing that you seriously think that you describe yourself in 5 to 7 minutes appropriately. That's all there is to say about you? I don't think so.
And that is one. But I always try to speak about why I joined Toastmasters. And at the beginning, I joined Toastmasters 40 years ago for 3 years after I divorced. And I was looking for a man. And people laugh. But then I begin to explain that I was alone and explain how I found the club and how I went down the stairs. So I tell a story always differently. And now, after 3 times, I tell another story. How I joined and why I joined in London, or how I become stand-up comedian. There are so many things to tell about ourselves. Now, have you seen an evaluation form? That is the evaluation form for improve through positive coaching, which is waiting for me after I have done my third coaching. So the speech itself is very short, but coaching well someone for 3 times is not so short. And explain what is the purpose. And then it tells you that you have to explain, to tell 3 different general comments. And these comments are the same again for every evaluation, every project. You are always find excelled, or you may want to work on, or to challenge yourself on the first page. On the second page, you have points for clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, the usual, and comments. And when you go to icebreaker, they will tell you in 1 line only that because it is the first time someone speaks, it is better not to tell that she is just developing and give her a bad mark, just comment. So gestures, after gestures, you have something which usually we don't really use: audience awareness, comfort level, but then we have also interest and how, and the topic that is specific for this coaching experience. So only 1 point is specific. All the others you found in almost everyone, every. And the third page explain, of course, when you give 3, 4, 2, or 1. And my experience was that when I spoke to a club, which were not yet pathway, but I gave a pathway speech, so I printed these forms. They really liked the page 3. They were very happy to have that page 3 that I gave them, of course, every time. And even more interesting, the evaluation forms. I want to go back to show you other. I think I'll have to log in because I don't know how to log out of that. Yeah. No. Yeah, open curriculum. No. Okay, here. So I have found that I go faster from one path to other if I log out and I log in. Then if I try to go from one path to other, that is a little bit strange, but that is true. So my education transcript, and here I go to completed path. Only curriculum. And those are my 3 I have finished. Now I have to tell you that presentation mastery and visionary communication have been already attributed to me because the club I was working then put in Club Central. The fact that you finish doesn't give you really the leadership development I finished for BaseCamp, but for Toastmaster International, it is still waiting. And I can open and show you level 5 project here. There's Manage Successful Event is a very long project. I begin in June and finished in December. We made a huge festival, storytelling festival, but it can be also a conference, like a district conference or an intern or other big event. And before in level 3 and 4, I had to create small events. A special event like a Halloween meeting, like Vice Presidents of Education. And creating bigger and bigger events led me to let's go to the beginning. So, create a successful event. That is a project which is a lot longer than a speech. Setting dates, establishing budget, choosing venue, coordinating publicity, having a big team with whom you work. And I was together with Paul White, who is Chief Ambassador, Pathway Ambassador in District 27, and created 3 storytelling clubs. And with his 3 storytelling clubs and my witty storytellers, we created together an event. And all my past was dedicated to that event. So the purpose of this project is to plan, organize, and implementing an event of your choosing. After you present a 5 to 7 minute speech, which is nothing really compared to what you did before. Did I answer you a little bit of the question you asked me about a project? A longer project?
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you so much.
I have a question though. This project is obviously huge, whereas I assume some are small. Are the mandatory projects bigger than the elective, or are they somewhat random? I mean, are some of the paths much bigger than others, or that sort of question? Like, how much does it vary?
Can you ask me again?
That project you just discussed was really huge, whereas I think some of the others you sort of said, like the icebreaker, are very small. Are most of them big or small? Are the mandatory ones bigger than the elective ones? How much do they vary?
At level 1, almost all projects are small. You go level 1, you have an icebreaker, you have evaluation and feedback, which has 2 speeches about the same subject, if possible, adding the feedback, and then a 3rd speech with a 3rd time is evaluating someone so they can improve. And then number 5, again, very small, relatively small, not small, which is a research. Level 2 also, it makes assessment, but then you have to give only 3 speech without very much work. And at level 3, begin to have smaller projects, like, for example, organizing a Halloween meeting in your club, which takes some more time and effort. And as you go to level 4, for example, you have make a blog for a month, or make a podcast in a month, at least 30 minutes. And or in level 5, you have make a panel or organize a big festival. As you go farther in the level, the difficulty increase.
So that sounds also that the focus goes from speeching to more leadership and more actual project work as you get further along. Is that true?
It depends. It depends on the path. For example, if you go to the presentation mastery, the last project is speak 20 minutes. A keynote type presentation speech. In my opinion, it is more communication than leadership. And the presentation mastery, even you don't have, look at my leadership style, but instead you have body language. So it depends on which project you choose. That is, you have to study very carefully what you choose before and what you like. Now, I like very much leadership development because Paul White had the idea to put everything we do in the path about storytelling. So I begin telling about my great-grandmother telling stories to me, and he began to tell a story about when he was born. And then I told a story later about my father's first work and how it influenced me 30 years later. And he did visual communication and told other stories about his life and his wife and so on. And together we went to finish with the festival. So it was fun. For me, it was a big fun. Better now, the presentation mastery, I had another big problem because I did buy first a manual. I believe instead of printing, I will be good to buy a printed manual. And I did not know that when you buy a printed manual, you are forbidden to look. And most important, you have no more elective. So when I arrived at level 3, I found out that I have 2 electives which Toastmaster decided for me.
Mm-hmm. Julie, this is probably some very important information that compared to the regular learning paths, the printed version only is a fraction of what you get online. And you don't get the printed version online. You get either printed manuals or online version, which you can print on your own.
Exactly. And what I did at level 3, when I had gotten the manual in my hand and seen that I don't have all those good things which I did have at visual communication, I stopped and I did buy myself with $20 the web. And I begin again. Because I didn't want the choice taken away from me. Yes, any other question? We have 10 more minutes, and I can show you the second speech. Yeah, I can show you something else. After you do the icebreaker, you can do in any order the other two. I did not know, I learned. So I did this time lately. I am only on level 1 for the moment of dynamic leadership. I did the icebreaker because I had in my pocket one time, no one wanted to speak. And then I did the research because I found a book presenting with pizzas, and I wanted to speak about how you train and how important is to train a trainer and to find someone in each club who can train the others. So I completed the research and presenting, but evaluating and feedback I still have to complete. The evaluating and feedback is one of my beautiful things, and I think every club can do it without being in pathway, because you give one speech, any style, 5 to 7 minutes, and then listen carefully to the feedback.
I have a question from the user perspective.
Second time, one moment. The second time you have to try to put in yes. Questions?
Yes, I had a question. When you log in to the BaseCamp for the first time and you were about to choose the first path for you, was it intuitive for you how you actually use that tool?
My problem was that they ask you questions, what you like. Again, I will tell you, read my blog, where I explained it very carefully. At the beginning, I was convinced I do not like leadership. I want to speak, I am here to speak. And so I answer the questions, not with really what I like, which I believed I like. So if you know very well what you want, it is easy. But you have to know. Does it answer to your question?
Yes, thank you.
If you look really at the 3 required things and ask yourself, do I want to do that or not, is another question than to answer general questions they are posed to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the assessment is like it is. If you know how to answer them, I didn't know.
We already reviewed the German version of it, and I was surprised how well the questions have been phrased.
Yeah,
so they indeed help you to find out what you really want.
Yeah, it is very good then. And also, after you finish, you are given 3 choices. And if you don't want those 3 choices, you can go down the list and choose something else still.
Yep.
I still believe that studying before all what each path does in detail can help.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that can you see before you choose a path? So if I'm thinking I want to take path A or path B, can I look at those 3 mandatory projects completely and read all the details before I've chosen that project, or is that only afterwards?
The projects can be read only when you are there, but George Marshall, I think 50-page what is called? It is a linked hypertext, and you can go to any project and a short description of 2 paragraphs you can find. It is not a long description, but it tells you a little bit what it is about.
Okay.
But not when you assess, before you assess. In the assessment, it doesn't explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Last questions?
Okay.
I have to tell you that pathway changed my life.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I am now full-time pathway, and I don't do anything else in my life. And with the storytellers, which had first time George Marshall and Ellen was there in May. Now we have 90% of our members already on Pathway, because they had seen my enthusiasm, and they came others who become guides or ambassadors, or just went through a path, or just begin. And I think end of January we will not have 100%, because there are some who cannot, for private reason, begin. But it is catching. Mm-hmm. The enthusiasm can be catching once you begin to love it. And another thing they changed, there are some projects, for example, positive thinking, which is improving yourself to focus on positive. When something happens to you you don't like, you begin to find what is positive in it. And that helped me very much last 2 months. Another thing was time management, which I took, which was required one. Mm-hmm. And the time management told me, write down for a week everything you do. And my first impression was, if I write down what you do, I lose time. I don't gain time. But in fact, writing down, I found out how much time I lose on things I can very well not do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So it helped even my personal life and how I do. Not only doing things in Toastmasters or, yes.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation, and I hope it helps everybody of us to get a better feel of the program, what it's going to be like to work with it. And my suggestion is look at the blog post from Julie, because the assessment is so valuable if you see which questions are being asked, and how people actually are to do the assessment, and to which paths they are going to be recommended. And there are also some other valuable information. We already decided on putting together on our website a kind of a recommended reading list. There are 2 open groups in Facebook, the Pathways discussion forum and another group where you can join as a pathways guide, discuss things internally, and get to know a bit more about pathways. I also suggest that we start our own Facebook group, Pathways in Europe. And I'm going to get in touch with the other chief ambassadors, even of the UK and the rest of Europe, to find if we can share one group, because I don't think it is necessary to have several groups. And I think that the specific needs for Europe is we can all share the information.
Wrote my blog address in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see.
Once you can find.
Mm-hmm. And Julie already offered that we can ask her questions, and feel free to get in touch with her. We are going to invite her again in February to speak up, to show us a little bit more when the rollout is probably approaching, getting nearer. Then we can look into some aspects, into some things. We probably have more specific questions by then. So Julie already agreed to do another demonstration and question and answer session with us. Okay, let me Roswitha, but it is not what I can say when I do the presenting in a club. Frank, what are you referring to? Is it about? Is it about the?
Wrote that TMI wants that everyone use the online tool.
Oh, okay.
It's a strategy, but I can't say it in a presentation.
I would not say it in a presentation, but in a personal talk, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know,
because I think it isn't fair if I pay an extra fee and have less than other people. They only pay $20.
See it in the other way. The online tool is simply you get access. For them, it's less work.
Yeah.
Cost for printing, it's just additional cost. What you need instead of duplicating what is available online, which
you can print your own manual.
Julie just puts it in the way. What I would suggest always is buy the online, the online version and print it yourself. You are able to download all the PDFs of every project. And Julie, would you please show the printed version, your printed version of a PDF you just showed me yesterday?
One moment.
I think with the black, it's you can put it in a folder, but there is a smart way how you can put together your printout so it looks like a manual. That's easily done. It's just like that. I don't know if you know that it's kind of a plastic side in which you squeeze in your pages.
Using presentation software.
Mm-hmm.
Just using your visual aids.
And the PDFs are all layouted just as if they were if they were regular manuals.
And I have this thing I did buy.
Uh-huh.
And some plastic.
Front.
And it's really like a manual. And I can read it in my head if I want. Manage projects successfully.
Mm-hmm.
I have printed almost each of them. Of course, I have to pay the printer's ink,
mm-hmm.
but it is worth because I have on my fingertip 13 projects at level 3 only,
Mhm.
which I can print all or save. I have also a folder when I put all my projects. So if I go in level 1 or 2 in another, and I cannot open level 3, I have them there in my folder.
Also, what you better don't underestimate is that the project, and it shows only the project parts, but has deeper links into other information, which is additional information. And these interlinked pages and information is not possible to print. So this is something which is also lost with the printed version.
Another thing which you are encouraged from level 1, and that is why research is there, to go further.
Mm-hmm.
Not stop what it is in the project manual, but investigate further. That is how, and I have, if you go on my Facebook page, I have a whole list of books which I read through from April.
Mm-hmm.
About leadership, about transition, about change, about many things, how to make a panel discussion. I have a book because not everyone has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to read.
Okay. Book recommendations. I saw that. I have to check that. From Julie. Okay, thank you so much. Is there any more question right now, or is it something which we can thank now Julie and proceed for the last half hour or 20 minutes with our own organizational stuff? Okay, Karin has a question. Would you like to ask it? Or should I read it?
I just wondered how it is with the feedback forms. Do I have to print them out and give them to those who are giving feedback to me when I'm holding a speech in the club? Or how can I manage it?
Yes, you usually do that, or send them via PDF in advance, or ask somebody else to print it for you. These evaluation forms are available for everybody, for all projects, as far as I know. Julie, am I right? We don't hear you.
You can save PDF for every project. Instead of printing, you can save it.
And I think there is an evaluation folder on in BaseCamp where you can access for all projects the evaluation forms.
Yes, but the evaluation form is also in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
It just means when I hold the speech, I have to remember to print it out before and bring it to the club with me.
Yes, actually it is in the PDF as well of the project.
If they have access to a computer.
Mm-hmm. But if you print your project, just like Julie showed us, then it's in there as well. You simply take the whole project with you, and then it's in there just like you used to have it.
Okay.
And you can print the page where all the possibilities are, and they can choose.
Okay, Harald asks how will the evaluations be acknowledged in BaseCamp? As far as I know, the Vice President of Education acknowledges that the project has been delivered.
No, in BaseCamp, no one cares really about
it.
What is really important to self-evaluate, to answer to all the self-evaluation questions before and after, save them, and then see the compare before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And BaseCamp see before and after you have done, believes that you finish the project.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it before you finish really. It is your responsibility. The VP only comes in to acknowledge a level completion.
Okay.
Not every project.
Just right, just like it is done today with the competent communication manual. Nobody actually checks it only at the end when you are registering your competent communicator, or here in the end when you're registering your level 1, 2, 3, the Vice President of Education has to acknowledge it.
And you can upload, of course, your evaluation in your portfolio, but no one can look but you. So well, you can do it or not do it, it is up to you.
Frank asks about the data protection. This is actually something you don't have to upload any information other than you're registering with Toastmasters. So you don't have to upload any evaluation, any other stuff. This is not necessary. You can. So you have everything in place, but nobody else has access to it. Only you have access to it.
It is your responsibility. What you do, what you don't do, you learn or not learn.
Mm-hmm.
So why,
okay.
Why not learn?
I think everybody of us is happy to learn. Okay, then I think I call it finished by now, to at least for this part. Thank you so much for showing us pathways, and I hope everybody of us got a good glance into what the pathways, learning paths look like, and is as curious as I am to work with it.